Hello everyone, this is Dan Riley for Sports Talk. Dak Prescott's injury, incredibly, hasn't killed off Dallas' hopes for a trip to the playoffs. Listeners, hear me out on this. The team, as we all know, plays in a terrible division and just needs to understand it needs to change things up a bit. The Cowboys need to use a lot of play action on first and second down and increase Zeke Elliott's workload considerably. The team can't afford to do anything else now. End of story. Look, yes, I could be wrong here. The team has been awful and nobody really expects much. But middle-of-the-road teams have won Super Bowls, like the Ravens when they won the whole thing back in 2000. They didn't have a world beater at quarterback either. Growing up, I heard stories of how the Bengals came up with the idea for the West Coast offense after their starting quarterback blew out his passing shoulder and his backup had a weaker arm. The Cowboys are in a similar position. Change your strategy. Nowadays, run plays are an afterthought. As we all saw last season in the game between the Rams and Chiefs on Monday night. And Andy Dalton isn't exactly the second coming of Dak Prescott. Now, he has taken teams to the playoffs, but that's not the point. The point is the Cowboys need to worry about running the ball as often as possible and giving Andy Dalton the simplest, shortest pass as possible. They have to make sure Dalton works with what he has. If it means the Cowboys win games by a score of 13-10, so be it. Let's make that clear. Play the most conservative offense possible. It's boring, but it's their only choice. After all, less screw-ups on offense would be welcome in Dallas right now. In baseball, we call it small ball. No big risk-taking. The Cowboys need to take the same offensive approach to their game now. Bland and boring. Andy won't have timing down with his receivers. Timing on deep passes are non-existent right now for him. You have to throw the ball 60 yards downfield to the exact spot where your receiver is expected to be. I don't think he's been working with the first team. This is no time to just tell guys to go deep and expect good things to happen, period. Things would go from bad to worse real quick. Because, as I just mentioned, accurate throws are harder for rusty backups when they have to throw balls 60 yards in the air to their receiver downfield. Yes, a Super Bowl is out of the question, but the playoffs should be considered a successful season now. The Cowboys haven't been dominant since a couple of years before the Pokemon craze hit the U.S. Dallas needs to worry about giving their city something to smile about, a playoff appearance. That'll cut it. To do this, the Cowboys need to take less risks in play calling. To do anything like going deep or trick plays right now would put the last nail in the coffin, period. Nobody should expect Andy Dalton to lead the league in passing yards this season. It's unrealistic and unnecessary. Andy just needs to focus on getting the Cowboys in field goal range. That's the goal now. And if Dallas miraculously winds up winning the whole thing, which none of us will have seen coming, it'll be because he didn't worry about setting the world on fire. It sounds funny, but it's their only hope. If it means signing Le'Veon Bell to complement Zeke Elliott going forward, that's just fine. At least the Cowboys will have to be content with it because low expectations as far as passing yardage is the new normal the rest of this year in Dallas. There's a saying in the NFL, next man up. Well, next idea up is more like it in Big D. Because Dez Bryant having 60 touchdown catches this season just won't happen. That's the reality of the situation. Now, if the Cowboys can't accept that reality, anything resembling a salvageable season is as big a fantasy as unicorns and the boogeyman. 50 years ago, offenses in the NFL ran the ball half the time and won games by scores like 3-0. At this point, that's what the Cowboys should be shooting for. This is Dan Riley for Sports Talk on Passionate World Internet Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in, and so long.